the Milwaukee. Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Dan French, and we are going to do a market update for you today. We have my good friend, my co-host on this market update with Mr. the one and only man of the hour, the Wisconsin cheesehead of all cheeseheads, Mr. Brett T. Jenny, ladies and gentlemen. What's going on today, Brett?
Nobody wears hunting orange like me.
Right. What's going on, my man? What have you been up to?
I have been up to real estate.
Real estate?
Yes.
It's funny.
Yes.
Real estate, or is it like dwelling? Like, isn't that interesting how a lot of people today are looking at real estate as being something they may not want to buy into? And a lot of it is because of interest rate hikes and interest rates going up, prices of homes going up. Although we are going to look at some data, because that's what we do here, Brett. We look at data and information, and we're trying to give you guys the right content. So let's talk today, Brett, about what's happening in the housing market here in Las Vegas. You guys know this channel, Property Land, LV Crib Tours. So, Brett, let's talk, man. What's in real estate? What are you seeing out there, brother?
So the long and short of it is, and this just came out in, I believe it was the Las Vegas Journal or Las Vegas Sun, one of the two. Las Vegas Review Journal, sorry. Home prices actually went up, another 9% since last year. And even though we have very high interest rates, and I say very high interest rates because a lot of people, want to put these graphs up basically saying, hey, if you would have waited to buy a house because of high interest rate in 1973, you would have waited until 1993 before rates came down. However, home prices hadn't gone up 3 to 4 times compared to the living wage in that amount of time either, though. And that's a huge thing. That's a huge factor because now you're talking about 7% interest rate on a house that in normal growth would be $350,000 and is now $450,000, $475,000, right? So now you're talking a lot more. So despite that happening, you still have a lot of people at least moving to Las Vegas. So in the Las Vegas market, I can't speak for anywhere else, we're up almost 10% for the year, even though we have low inventory because we still have a good amount of buyers, which would be, more buyers than sellers. So any good property that comes on market gets snatched up right away. And people don't want to, there's not a lot of sellers because they're doing the golden handcuffs, which means they got an interest rate so low, mid 3s, maybe mid 2s. And their house was bought 4 or 5 years ago. So they just, unless they have a family situation that changes, they're not going to put their house up for sale. And that amount's limited compared to a normal market. So that's kind of what we're seeing right now. If you have a decent house and it's, clean and not beat to heck and you price it accordingly, you're probably going to get multiple offers. Wouldn't you say, Dan?
I would have to agree with that, Brett, but I'm going to tell you that I think a lot of it's that price range. Multiple offers for sure, anything 450 or lower. That's the average media price today. I also look at the fact that what's going and what sells quickly, that's probably the price range. Although you have better qualified and better buyers today when I feel when you're buying into a market, let's say 800 to $1.5 million, right? Those people typically have the money to put down, can pay over cost or over list price if needed. And I think when you talk about buyers that are looking at buying at 300 to 500, man, you better be rolling up those sleeves to pay that mortgage payment of $3,500 to $4,000 a month, because that's what you're going to be getting into if you're putting down the minimum amount. So do we see an influx of California buyers coming here? Yes, although we've seen it slow down. Now, these California buyers that are coming in, I can make an argument. We can have a conversation now, Brett. Is it really a difference in coming here and still saving money on just the housing part of it? We know Other areas it is taxes, property taxes and then business taxes. We know that. But cost of living and housing, we could say is getting close where it's not that much savings. What are your thoughts?
It it's starting to get up there. I just saw a stat this morning that 89138, which is the newest part of Summerlin, that's where primarily a lot of the new home builds for Summerlin are going. The average sales price now in the 89138 zip code is like $929,000.
Wow.
So actually, I was looking at the stats this morning, and 89138, which is the newest part of Summerlin, the average sales price there right now is $929,000. And I think 4 years ago it was low sixes, maybe 610, 615. So, that part is attracting a lot of California buyers. Now, is it cheaper for them to live? I think absolutely. Even if you want to look at it in terms of just bang for their buck of what they're getting for value, they can sell their house in California for 1.8, 1.9 million. They're going to come to Summerlin, even pay 950,000 or a million for a house, even 1.2 million, and they're getting 2 or 3 times the house. They've sold their house in California. So not only are they kind of in a price range where they could, not only are they in a price range where they can afford it already, but with the sale of their house and getting 2 or 3 times more for value and the area here in Las Vegas. And that's not even including the state income tax they're not having to pay either.
Yeah, 100%.
Let alone property taxes. In Las Vegas, your property tax is about 1% of your value. What's it in California? It's like triple that.
Oh, absolutely.
So
I just think it's a conversation though, like where people, it was a no-brainer before, Brett. I think now people are starting to say, well, is it, going here, is it going to change our life that much different? And I'm not saying that it's not, but I think a lot of people hesitate now from California, or they're starting to hesitate more just because of prices. I want to go over to this really quick, and let's look at this information on Info Sparks, which is it's showing time that we have. And
you're on single family. I gotcha.
Single family, we're up 9%. Remember, you said it's 9%. That's the entire MLS is up 9%. But if you look at this, it says, back. If you're looking at January of 2024, which it started out, we were at 445. We've seen a huge uptick, as far as from 445 all the way up to 469. So that tells you that there's buyers out there, but it also tells you we have shortage of properties because it's supply and demand. Go ahead and elaborate a little bit more on what your thoughts are with this, Brett.
Now at the bottom, switch down to new listings.
Okay.
Okay. So you had here roughly between 24 to 2,800 every month
on new listings. Okay, so we're at new listings.
So to take that into terms of where to measure things, that's less than a 2-month supply. A normal market where you have an even balance between buyer and seller is about a 6-month supply. That's an average of not even a 2-month supply. And then that was in August. Look in December, it went down to 1,600.
Yeah, 1,630. Yeah, just like it just dropped out. The bottom dropped off.
Yeah, that's in an international city. 1,600 listings. That's below a month. So now it shot back up to 3,000, which is higher than last year on average. But that's still like not even 2 months, if even 2 months supply. And that's with the MLS going up with 18% more inventory.
Right.
And it's still 2 months supply. So
go ahead. What were you saying?
So that's the problem, which is, listen, if you're in a higher price point between like 8 and 1.5, 2 and up, you can afford a lot of things in life. And you're in a situation where you can afford to sell your house in California, and even if it sits there a little bit, and move here and all that stuff. But overall, you're not going to see any real movement in the rest of the price points until you have interest rates go down. People
Well,
just simply
yeah.
there's I mean here's there's simply not enough. Even with the buyers that are coming in, the interest rates are so high that you're just seeing things sit there. You're not seeing sellers put their homes on the market, but you're not necessarily seeing buyers either.
Yeah.
It's sitting there, it's stagnant. I mean, literally, it's the worst market statistically since 1995. It's literally stagnant. It's not going down. It's not going up. It's just sitting there.
Yeah.
And it's going to sit there until the levy breaks. And the levy's not going to break until the feds start lowering the interest rates a couple times.
Look at this month's supply here. Like you said, 2.2 months supply. You got price per square foot, is 256. That's the average median. And then if you look at days on the market, average home. I'm showing it right here, but the average days on the market is 15 days on the market. So, looking at this chart, I think it says a lot that, from my perspective of what I think is happening, I think what's going on is that we just don't have enough homes, and I think people aren't listing their home. Even though we see prices going up, it goes back to the supply and demand, that people are spending a higher price or potentially paying more at list or maybe even above list because there's just not a lot of homes on the market. But that doesn't mean it's a hot market. It just means we just don't have enough homes for buyers that are buying. And that's why you're seeing, a lot of people are still going to new homes. I got a lot of people that are coming to me asking me about new homes. I got contracts in new homes. And I see that buyers are really taking advantage of all those rates, the low rates that you're getting buy downs on from the builder and some closing cost incentives. So I think that's the route where people are going, because a lot of people that are in a rate that's, let's say south of 4%, they're not moving, just like you were talking about. They're not moving anywhere. And so I think it's just like you said, it's a stagnant market. There's not enough shift either direction. And there's not like it's a healthy market where we have the same amount of buyers to offer the same amount of homes or a healthy supply of homes on the market. So I think it's a very stagnant market, even though we've seen an increase in price, as far as the average price goes. We're very low on inventory, and it seems like that's been going on, right?
Absolutely. And here's another thing too, which is, if you're below, if you're the average family moving here, to live in a $400,000 or $500,000 house, your mortgage payment to rent is going to be $2,100 to $2,200. To buy that house is going to cost you $3,500 a month.
Right.
So why would you not rent?
Yeah.
Right now.
It makes perfect sense. I mean, I say you can rent, but here's what I'm going to tell you. So I think that it all is case by case. I have a lot of people with different stories and situations, and some people want to take advantage. If they think that prices are going to keep going up, they also think that they don't want to miss the boat where prices are going to go so high that not many people are going to be able to afford a home in the near future. And so I think there's a lot of fear of missing out. I think that's what it comes down to. Let's go over here. I want to bring up a few things here, Brett. Let's talk about the interest rates. The Federal Reserve may lower rates in 2024. Do you feel that, again, the Fed's fund rate is not something that says that the mortgage rates are coming down, because that doesn't impact rates directly there? But do you feel that if the Fed lowers rates, they're going to do that because they do it based off of inflation? What do you think is going to happen with that?
It'll skyrocket. I mean, there's a pent up demand right now, but it doesn't make sense for either side, the seller or the buyer. In a lot of situations right now, it doesn't make sense for them to buy or sell. But as soon as those interest rates get hit a couple times, especially if we can slip down to the mid fives, even low fives.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be game on. Um, Sellers are gonna be put their house on the market. They're gonna have a ton of equity. People are gonna already know what the new home prices are. It's not like all of a sudden the interest rates get lower and home prices jump up to some, you know, price that they're not already at. It's already done that the last 3 years. So people have already kind of got the price chalk out of their way. So once you have sellers that put their home on the market because now they can tap on their equity, but they can turn around and then buy and not have to pay outrageous, rates.
Yeah.
Same thing with sellers. I think it's going to go nuts as soon as they lower it down to the fives, somewhere in the fives.
Want to say one thing about what's happening with new or just homes for sale and home sales in general. MLS is saying we're up 18% at the start of the first quarter of this first year, January. And so I think that's a big step in the right direction, because if you look at this really quick, I don't know if you're looking at this with me, but if you see this, you can see that we're up 18.4% by the MLS standards, which is a really big number. I mean, it's almost not straight up, but it's definitely a huge increase. We went from 1,494 all the way up to 2,352 in April of new home sold. So I think that, yes, it's showing a positive direction. I think a lot of people are starting to get accustomed to just higher rates in general, but we're still far from where we were. Do you think this 2024 is going to change at any pace? I mean, we're stagnant a bit. We do see an increase in home prices, homes that are out there for sale, and also homes that have closed or home sales have increased. What do you think about the residential market? Do you think that's going to be a continuous thing here in 2024?
I mean, I'm not going to speculate on prices, but if you're a seller, as long as you have a decent house in decent condition and it's ready to sell, as long as you price it accordingly, you're going to have absolutely no problem selling your house, regardless of interest rates. But I don't think overall there's going to be too much action going on, period, until the rates go down. And I don't see the rates going down until probably the fall of this year, realistically.
That's if they do. And I would agree with you, Brett. The challenges I get when listing a house is that people, they don't want to have that difficult conversation if it's over list. I mean, you could sit there and throw out all the bells and whistles and all the marketing ideas and schemes and everything, and they do help. I'm not going to say that they don't. You got to have an agent today working for you if you're listing your home. But ultimately, what really sells your home or solidifies it is it priced out well, and is it going to be, go ahead.
Sorry, not to interrupt. Let's just look at it with basic common sense. You're in a market where there's some of the lowest historically low inventory you've ever had, combined with the inventory that is listed going up 9.1% over the last year. So if you put your house on the market and you're not getting any offers and it's not selling, it's really simple. Price, price, price. There's no other reason why you wouldn't be getting an accepted offer immediately in this market. And so I understand everybody wanting to get the most amount of money for their house. So I always say, listen, okay, let's put it on the high side if that's what you want. What's your situation? You got some time. Let's put on the high side with an agreement, with a verbal agreement. We don't need to put it in writing, but let's just have that conversation now, which is if it's on there for 2 or 3 weeks, we're not getting any showings, we're not getting any offers. It's a clear indication that it's overpriced. Then we will go back and have a conversation about lowering it to where it should be. And that's the approach to have.
Yeah, I would agree with you, Brett. You hit that right on the head, because I think that your approach to that is exactly how I would handle that. And I think, you have to have those conversations with sellers. We're talking, I've talking to a couple people, one that's, listed at 1.6, I think, or 1.7 million that we're going to start marketing this property. So if you guys have any interest in this property that we're about to list here, hit me up. I'll let you guys know where it's at. We're going to start putting some information out on it. Economic indicators, and we're going to wrap this thing up. Unemployment is at 3.8%. It's low still. GDP's growth is 2.4%. Mortgage rates fluctuating, like I said, up and down 7%. Very interesting on how people's approach is with rates today. More often, they're buying the rate down, though, as far as they can, and they're using builders to do that. The future outlook, we're going to look at anticipated rate cuts. You talked about that, Brett, that it's going to happen probably in fall. Strong demand could bolster the residential market. We're seeing that. I think our Achilles heel is two things. It's going to be our interest rates really going to come down, mortgage rates. And secondly, do we have enough supply for the demand of housing? We've never, I feel like that's been a problem for the last few, 4 or 5 years in real estate. That commercial sector remains uncertain. So, for us out there, we're in the trenches, guys. We're out there, hitting the pavement, talking to people, listing people's homes, letting them know the pros and cons. You got anything else to say about this market update? All right, guys, you guys know this is the channel that you guys want for all your future real estate and financing questions answered and your needs out there for real estate. We're both with Simply Vegas. My name's Dan French, and from Brett Jenny, we want to thank you guys for this market update. Please like the channel, subscribe. LV Crib Tours, Propyland. We're going to continue to put out great information and updated information, not just on these market updates that we're putting out weekly, property tours, also just updated information in real estate. We'll see you guys at the next one. We're out of here.
Thanks.